And Derbeater!
I just started the recording.
Nice.
Alright, previously on D&D, you headed further east towards Firefinger. Zoaz found a discarded Chris dagger in the sand, thinking nothing of it, and finders keepers obviously. He stowed it away. As Firefinger loomed into view, so too did the lovely village of Aurora. And upon seeing Aurora, it became apparent that it was under attack by a horde of wanderers. Providing your assistance, only one dude super died, and you became acquainted with Doza, the captain of the Zenith Knights, who are here on duty from Ituusk to recapture Firefinger. It had been not responding to summons, and it seems like there is some sort of beast that has alighted atop the beacon. Doza stopped in Aurora after suffering heavy losses on his first go-around with Firefinger, and the whatever beast that eats magic that has usurped the top of it. We last left off with Twig, reeling from the deliciousness of bread fresh out of the oven with butter melting off of it, 2 copper short in his purse, but 100 platinum richer in his belly. What would you like to do? As the sunset of Aurora sparkles around you.
Zoaz is currently taking a short rest in his inn room, grappling with the information he has just received.
Okay.
And Chuman is also taking a rest.
Okay. If you want, you guys we can say like you're beginning your long rest, and we'll just
Sure.
cut to the evening.
Xalia is very probably in her room trying to mess around with this funny new gem she got because she has ideas.
Okay. Which new gem is that?
It's the one for Summon Shadow Swan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting. Okay.
I'd say Makayla's taking another crack at the tome, the cursed tome.
All right. Sure. So you open up the book.
Yeah. Just like probably like sitting. Is there like some sort of? It's not an inn, you said, right? But it's sort of like a place of room.
Yeah, like as you look around and you all spend time in here, you realize that you are not in an inn, but something more of a like a tavern that has been changed up and turned into just a lodging area. You can see like the long tables pushed up against the wall, and there in its place are many beds. Looks like you've been put into some kind of like makeshift barracks or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she'd just be sitting wherever there's a place to sit and like having the tome out, candle, and maybe like a drink or something.
Okay. You're all in kind of like a public room rather than separate rooms. So yeah, we can do that. Make an intelligence saving throw, Makayla.
Here we go again.
My old friend, intelligence saving throw.
Hey!
Yo, natural 20.
What a hero.
This time I was ready.
This time you were ready, yeah. Taking a deep breath, Makayla, and bracing your mind and your body for what's to come. You wash your hands and turn the page. And this page, the third page, is spanned by a picture of a dark and tall figure. They hold a staff-type weapon with blades on each end, very similar to the double-bladed scimitars in use today by Doomstriders. This figure holds one of the blades towards the setting sun in the horizon, and their offhand is resting on the shoulder of an accompanying elven man. The caption reads, "Flesh and wine, page and monarch, forth they went." And then in translator's note from the goblin, and just this awful goblin scrawl that you are quite adept at reading.
She has experience.
Yeah. It reads, translator's note, 0 clue about the other part, but flesh and wine is immediately apparent. And then in brackets it says, bring me flesh and, brackets, bring me wine, is a saying in Khorzaire that has fallen out of use since the time of the Civil War. It really only gets said between people that cling to the past, and it usually means that a plan has been hatched and they need to start gathering provisions to make it happen. Probably stopped being used because flesh is pretty gruesome if you ask me. It'd be more fun to say meat.
Cool. Bring me some meat and wine. And this is the damage I'm taking?
You take 7 psychic damage.
Pay the toll.
I take 1d. I take 3 psychic damage.
Thank you, Marble Orb of Shielding.
These orbs are paying for themselves.
Actual value. And then I take a long rest and heal it all back anyways.
And taking a breath, you close the book and put it away for a figuratively rainy day. It doesn't rain in Khorzaire.
Nope, of course not. Right, cool. I will copy that over.
Anybody else?
I think when we left off, Pastiche was just taking a walk around town.
I believe so. As you walk around Pastiche, you can see many merchants just inspecting their wares. You can see like a couple like towels or cloths being unfolded as people are inspecting tools or weapons that they trade in. You can see Twig with this kind of half-lidded expression enjoying some bread, and you can probably spot a couple of the town guard, whatever you like. You're moving through the sandy streets. It's warm under your claws, and even though most of it is a tan, just for what the buildings are made of, there is a smattering of color as the merchants are moving around.
Okay. Pastiche is probably just going to keep walking around for a while before heading to the lodging area.
Okay. What's your passive perception?
Let's see. It is 11? Yeah.
11. Okay. That's good enough. I will point out that as you're walking around town, you see one thing. Let's find out what you see. Okay, is that Tails? Yeah, it's Tails. You see the actual inn. There's not much left of it. Looks like it was a 2-story building that has collapsed downwards on the first floor. There's bits of planks and ladders kind of going everywhere with shattered crates and barrels. Looks like there's some tools that are kind of around, so you get the idea that they might be preparing to rebuild it, but this is definitely not in service at the moment.
Okay.
Let's see, what's Twig doing after your breadscapade?
I think eating the bread has made Twig sleepy,
Okay.
and he would be headed towards the barracks.
Okay. Who is the last one there? Is it Twig or Pastiche?
Twig would be going there right after the bread, but walking slowly.
Okay.
It's probably
It's
Pastiche then.
Yeah.
Okay. Pastiche, on your way back, just as the sun is setting behind the buildings or behind the horizon, and it's becoming more and more truly nighttime here. You do see like a couple of the town guard. They're coupled with Doza, and they've got one town guard like in their arms. They're restraining him so that he can't move. You can see the person that's being restrained kind of like wildly like swinging their head about.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see Doza, he unsheaths his Khopesh out of his shield. Kind of sighs. You can see his chest visibly fall. And he speaks to the town guard. That's just like wilding out, trying to like scratch and grab anybody. I'll come back for you, I promise. And he slices the guard and cuts him down.
Oh. Okay.
Doza kind of cleans his blade in the sand, and as you stop, startled, he puts his Khopesh back in his shield, and he sees you and locks eyes for a moment and gives you a nod. You can see him swallow. And he looks down on the ground.
Huh. I think Pastiche is going to return the nod and keep walking.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Snake to snake communication.
None of my business.
You know, Dave Lee's had a full conversation with that line.
Alright, well, so as everyone heads to bed for the night, and the sparkles of Aurora, then give its namesake, just become ushered into being from the spark of Firefinger, everyone can hit their long rest button.
Nice.
Alright.
And be rejuvenated for the day ahead.
Finally back to full hit dice.
I'm not still at 5 or 6.
Alright. Everyone has a lovely night's rest. Except for Pastiche.
Oh.
Oh no.
They are tossing and turning. Mind's eye bring them a dream of loud, heavy wing beats, just a mighty flapping of feathers to keep a creature aloft. There's a whirl of feathers around you, Pastiche, every which way you turn. These huge, singed gold-colored feathers, just as long as your forearm. You fire off a spell using your vibrant paint to conjure a salvo of acid, fire, of gold. The arcane energy is siphoned away from your palate. Razors rake across your face before finally, in the midst of the desert, you see a massive beak attached to a predator's head. It lunges at you, letting out its war cry. But what comes out is not a squawk or a shriek. No, instead, the sound that this mighty beast produces is that of pots and pans being cleaned together. Bong, 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 bong.
Cool.
You are awakened from your nightmare by Doza off somewhere slamming ladles against pans, functioning as the wake-up call you didn't ask for. Bong, 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 it is 6:40 a.m. You know what that means. Bong, 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 breakfast time. As the lizard man cacophony disturbs someone else. What would you like to do, Pastiche?
S- hmm. Approach Doza, I guess.
Okay. Lurched awake, just breathing heavily. You flag down this horrifying noise. Greetings, friend. It is time for food. Welcome to the next morning.
Good morning. Was that you making all that noise?
Bong, bong. With a flourish, he slams a ladle against the underside of the pot. Aye, it's time to wake up. Up with the sun. Come on.
Well, I am awake.
Khorzaire waits for no one, my friend. Pastiche, was it? Yes.
Yes. You are Doza.
Doza turns the music down, it's a little too loud. And
It's the same building as everyone else, by the way.
Sorry?
Is this the same building as everyone else?
It should be?
yeah,
Okay,
it should be.
cool.
So he's in here like briefly just slamming these pots and pans together to get everybody to wake up. Pastiche, you've gotten up and caught him on his way out before he goes to ruin somebody else's morning.
Yeah, Xalia's gonna come out just like literally dripping. Like her face is sloughing off of herself. Kind of low growling. And like dragging her legs along the literally.
Another one up at the sun. You'll see. Welcome to this lovely morning. Come, it's breakfast time. Eat your fill. What was it? You kind of cut out there.
Is there food there?
There is food. There is something interesting, Xalia. This is a out on display that Doza leads you out. You plural, so you and Pastiche leads you out. There's a couple merchants that are slicing this large green and black round fruit. Looks like a berry. When they slice open and produce a wedge of it, it is a sort of like a yellow fruity texture with seeds everywhere, just dotting the middle. And Doza and the merchants kind of say, like in unison, but like it's not practice, so they kind of like talk over each other. Desert King, watermelon. So come get a taste of the pride of Khorzaire. Doza and the merchant somehow have the same voice.
About now, having finished his morning prayers and arranged himself for the day, Zoaz would stumble out of his inn-room to see what all the racket is about.
The racket is still going on, even right next to Xalia and Pastiche. Doza is still banging his pot with this huge ladle. Just bong, 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 bong.
You see Xalia's ears retreat inside of her skull.
He raises the pot and pan over his head and just starts walking around. Wake up, wake up! The sun waits for no one.
Makayla is just laying there, like eyes open, but like looks like they could kill. Like looks like she's just ready to like murder someone. So as he like walks by, he just like stares right at him. Says nothing. Doesn't move. Just lies there.
Zoaz walks right by Doza, grabs some food, does not make eye contact or any sign of noticing the noise, grabs a plate of food and sits down back to Doza.
It is 5 copper for a Desert King watermelon.
Okay.
Pastiche is still kind of just standing around Oza, looking around, dazed, half awake.
About now, Chuman is entering, visibly annoyed, but he says nothing as he walks in, seeing Doza still clanking and making a noise. He just makes brief eye contact before looking at Zoaz and Pastiche, and then heads over to whisper, "Is this guy a maniac?"
In your inventory is the Desert King. The pride of Khorzaire.
Zoaz snorts, barely audible above the absolute din of pots and ladles, and says, quite possibly.
At this point, Twig would burst into the room, like in a panic, and say, "Is everything okay? Are we under attack?"
Zoaz shakes his head.
Doza, what's happening?
Alia's gonna try to minor illusion the sound of silence.
Chuman just looks at
Not going
Twig
to
as he...
work.
Chuman just looks back at Twig, and all you just see is glowing eyes of just irritation.
I see.
The only thing that's going on today, my friend, is another lovely day blessed by Aminata. Come, eat your fill. Get your strength up.
Twig sees the food, and he's already forgotten about the rude awakening. He sits down and buys a slice. It
I'm
was
gonna-
5 copper.
Yeah, 5 copper.
Yeah,
Sorry,
5
go ahead.
copper.
I'm gonna swarm hand and try and grab like one of the pots out of Doza's hands and just fly away with it. Just to like stop this.
As Dole's make an Arcana check. As Dole's like he's got the pot and ladle in his hand. He's like above his head. And he's like spinning around. Spectral vulture flies over.
Oh, what a wasted 20.
And
Not always.
yeah, yanks it out. Like there's a brief moment where he loosens his grip, and the spectral vulture just yanks it out and flies away, and then like sits on top
Grabs
of
it
the
in its talon.
yeah, it grasps it in its talon, then like perches on top of the just a random awning.
Mhm.
Doza reaches towards it. Tosses the pan somewhere. Well, everyone's awake now
Finally.
anyway. My job is done.
Zoaz sighs in relief.
Twig is carefully cutting apart his meal with an oversized saber.
I think he's going to purchase a watermelon, like just get some food. And then she's gonna like let her entire face just kind of drop into the watermelon and just, you can see it chewing.
This reminds me of like how a slug eats,
Yeah.
where they've got like a rasping tongue.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Let's see.
What she's doing.
Now that the noise has stopped, Pastiche kind of snaps back to reality and grabs a watermelon.
And Chuman finally gets up and grabs a watermelon as well. Now that the noise is finally dissipated.
This watermelon is delicious. It has been grown with the love of the sun of Khorzaire, and it is extremely juicy, 92% water, and it has this gorgeous yellow flesh on it. You just chomp into it and kind of like breaks apart in your mouth, chew it. It definitely has this revitalizing effect. and as the cool flesh, goes down your gullet, you strangely feel prepared for the rest of the day. And the blessing of the Desert King Watermelon. You have 5 temporary HP. Everybody that ate one.
Nice.
We'll get to the eating in a second.
Makayla would eventually eat one. Yeah.
What was that, Thomas?
I said we'll get to the eating in a second.
Okay.
First, Pastiche has to make a point to set up their watermelon directly across from Twig. And cut it. Not quickly at all.
Twig makes eye contact with Pastiche and doesn't say anything, but just nods.
Clown to clown communication.
Wow.
You wouldn't understand.
Raises their slicer overhead.
An excellent slice. Your blow comes whistling down and cleaves the watermelon in twain. Just
Twig watches intently, nodding, and grips his own slicer.
no!
Four.
Twig, as you bring your own watermelon slicer down, just a mere moment after Pastiche does, the force of the blow of Pastiche's watermelon slice sends a seed careening towards your beak, and at that exact moment that you go to make contact with the watermelon slicer, it ping! Connects with your beak and momentarily throws you off, and your aim goes wide, and you slam your watermelon slicer into the wooden kind of like picnic bench, and the watermelon just goes rolling. Kind of like rolls forward. Let's see, you would be. It rolls into Xalia. Just like
She just kind of. I mean, how much of the watermelon is it?
Like half of it, though.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like half of it. It just like rolls and spins into Xalia's head.
She's gonna like lift up part of that, half of them all, and then just let it in, and then put it back down.
Twig like reaches for it and then like lets his hand down, dejected.
Seeing Chuman go for his watermelon slicer, Zoaz dusts himself off, picks a watermelon seed out of his robes, stands up, thanks Doza for the watermelon, and makes his way out of the inn.
After a few minutes, Zalia's gonna pull her face back. There's nothing left.
Not even the rind?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, the funny part is that Chuman's been eating the watermelon, so he was going to slice Twig's rolling one, but then put it back down after Xalia picked up.
It's early, friend. We all have bad days. Pastiche is going to offer half of his watermelon to Twig.
Twig will happily accept it and say, "Thank you. You're very gracious in victory."
Is there a bell on the door of this establishment to let people know, or let the people in the store know when the door has been opened?
Would you like there to be one?
Yes.
Yes, there is one.
Ting-ling-ling. Zoaz has left.
Yeah, Makayla's like sitting in a location just like very clearly like trying to not be associated with the watermelon slicers.
Dole's like,
He'll like
go ahead.
sludge over by Twig, slap a silver like up on the table next to him, and then just keep walking. Not walking, but like sludging. She's a little bit less sludgy now. She's eating.
Doza claps a clawed hand on the back of Pastiche as he sits down and chows down. Oh, very impressive, my friend. You should perhaps enter the watermelon slicing contest next year.
Pastiche
Chuman just
looks at Doza, glares and smiles. I entered the watermelon slicing contest this year.
Oh. Well, sure you put them all to shame with a cut like that, then.
Well, you could say that. I was on the winning team.
Does laughing, continues eating the Desert King watermelon. He nods. Ah, a mighty band of adventurers, then. Your prowess, your prowess knows no bounds.
Indeed.
Basil, one
Pastiche.
more. And he slides another, he orders another watermelon. Plays down 5 copper. Go ahead, Pastiche.
Pastiche bites into their watermelon, reminiscent of a very specific picture of a very specific dog eating a watermelon.
And writing down in my official notes, Pastiche has seen a dog eat a watermelon.
That's probably true.
Wait, say that one more time?
Pastiche has seen a dog eat a watermelon. It's in my official notes now. It's canon.
Cool.
Okay, I just looked up. I just googled dog eating watermelon. I think I know what the picture. I think I know the picture. Twig is just finishing off his watermelon, and he says, "By the way, Zoaz, did you?" Zoaz?
Zoaz is gone.
Yeah, he's like
There is
looks around.
silence.
Chuman, as he finishes up, just points to the door.
Twig nods. I didn't realize how much time we had taken up.
It has only been a couple minutes.
I'd argue not for the time, but never mind, it is inconsequential.
Twig just shrugs. Okay.
Zoaz is actually doing something while he's outside. He is looking for a merchant who would happen to sell something very specific, and that is a glass eye.
Make an investigation check.
Skills. Bam. Ugh.
Okay. You peruse the wares.
Can I use my inspiration on
Yeah,
this?
you may.
Okay.
You peruse
I'm gonna
the wares.
reroll this.
Yeah, go ahead and reroll. You peruse wares and see.
Nice.
You see everything.
Uh-huh.
Hey, that's a 9. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
You see merchants displaying their wares, like many different kinds of weapons and just kind of like daggers, cutting knives, tools, like blacksmithing hammers. There's more food merchants that you surmise are bound for Luxnox. There's a bit of jewelry on display. And you do find a merchant that is packing up his wares. He's got wrapped up in a cloth. You see at the very last moment as he's tying up a kind of like a little satchel. That there is a glass eye among the wares.
Zoaz will flag him down and ask about the eye.
You would like this, eh? What brings you to its gaze?
Zoaz will introduce himself as a shepherd and say that it is of use for a ritual that he may conduct in the near future.
Alright, you're looking to purchase.
Yes, indeed.
Sure, I don't mind. I don't necessarily have a buyer for this already. Sure, I'd be willing to part with it. A guaranteed sell now is better than a perhaps sell later. What are you using this glass eye for?
It is for clairvoyance, which I will put in chat.
So that you can be clairvoyant.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. The merchant unknots the little kind of knapsack satchel thing. You can see he's got some other stuff. Like he's got other things that could be reagents. There's some like coral from ocean. There's like a gnarled beast horn. There's some hide and some clover. There's like a little rose. Just a random assortment of reagents. He plucks the glass eye from it expertly and just kind of dusts it off. Gives a little blow to blow it off, and then. Well, the going price for these is 100 gold. It seems fair to share. Fair that would be the going price for here now.
Say one more time. Sorry.
It says 100 gold.
Okay.
100.
Zoaz will fork over the gold,
Okay.
and I will add glass eye to my inventory.
Big spender.
You can see the merchant kind of like put the gold in a like a cylinder, like a little kind of like clicky cylinder that spits out gold coins. And he's kind of like feed it in, then he locks it. Pleasure doing business with you, shepherd.
Zoaz nods and thanks him for his service, and then will make his way back to the inn, hoping that the watermelon scenario has blown over.
Alright. Back at the watermelon scenario. We've got people chowing down. Doza is finishing his second watermelon. Are you guys doing anything special?
So like Makayla's just kind of not like she'd be like copying over what the book had said, so like to like a different page or something, like to something else, so she wouldn't have to subject herself to pain if she wanted to reread things.
Smart.
So-
Copy that, Makayla.
Yeah. So I guess actually she would need to go and get a book. So I guess she'd first. Yeah, I don't think she has any paper or anything on her. Nope. She would at this point, at some point, have like gotten up, left, and like tried to look for some sort of note, like paper or scroll or something.
Okay. You can get parchment from a merchant. You actually find a merchant kind of like fiddling with some cylinders on his side. Just they appear to be gold coin counters, and then you flag him down. He looks like he's got reagents, and he's got plenty of fine quality parchment available.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, I would try and like flag him down and exchange for that. Just the parchment, please.
Certainly. How many sheets will you be needing? These are finely, high quality processed goat hide. They're a silver each.
She kind of thinks, just. Some silver each. Just 10 pages for now. Should last me.
Aye. There's the sound of just parchment rubbing against each other as they count out 10 sheets of parchment for you, and the transaction is complete.
Cool. And 10. So, how much was that?
They're 1 silver each, so 10 silver.
Oh, and it's 10 silver is a gold, right?
Which is 1 gold.
Nice, perfect. Yeah, and then she'd wander back to the sort of encampment
Twig is gonna head outside and try to find like a slightly less busy area of town compared to like the main road.
Okay.
And then he's going to dig through his bag for a little bit and pull out the belt of cat.
Oh, it's time.
He's just gonna like inspect it, like look at it for a bit, and then just shrug and put it on the ground. And not really sure what to do with it. He just sits there watching it for a bit.
Okay.
Like has a claw to his beak, just nodding, like he understands everything.
Okay. Roll me a d100. The belt of cat there in the sand rests there ominously with the buckle.
That resting there, literally.
The buckle appears to be like in the shape of a cat's face. It stays there in the sun, in the sand. You look around. And it occurs to you that you haven't seen a cat here in Aurora.
Twig shrugs and picks the belt back up. And he says to himself, it was worth a shot. He's gonna try to find the group again.
Okay. Easy enough. You can hear Doza's loud voice, and following that, you find the rest of your group.
Xalia is probably wandering around doing, vaguely terrorizing people, but she's too tired to really put her heart into it.
Okay. Xalia, you do happen upon Korikon. And
He will wave an eye sock in acknowledgement.
Korikon is vaguely terrorized. He kind of like starts for a moment. Oh, yes. Good morning. I see the lizard man woke you up too.
Oh, man.
Are we getting ready to move on then? Do you know?
He shrugs and kind of shakes her quote-unquote head.
I'm going to head back to the group and find Zoaz.
He'll nod,
To come
and
with me.
in response, she will just keep sludging forward.
Past him, or are you no accompanying
Past him, yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. Let's see. Xalia, give me a perception check while you're just ambling around town, milling about as they were.
He's
Or
going
as-
for a goddamn walk.
All right. You enjoy your walk.
The most perceptive of walks.
He's very perceptive of walks. You are milling around the town, and yeah, there's something about the morning breeze on your quote-unquote head or quote-unquote face that is somewhat refreshing after consuming a watermelon, the Desert King watermelon. There's the balmy breezes upon your nostrils. It's definitely different from the region that you previously adventured in. Perhaps you had called home once. But after spending a couple weeks here, it's not so bad.
she's adapting. However, she does not want to be thinking this early in the morning, so she will sludge around until her head is slightly clearer, and then snap to a, vaguely more reasonable form. But she likes the eye stalks. She's keeping those, and then head back to the party.
While Makayla was going out and around for like parchment, she would have also inquired if this town had any sort of like library or just like a book, someone like a book merchant, someone who like yeah.
Okay. Yeah, asking around. Makayla would have unfortunately gotten a negative on that. There's no such place here.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured, but I figured she'd ask.
But of course, you do get the directions. If you're looking for books, Durlusk is right on over there.
Mm-hmm.
Nation of books.
All right,
That's
yeah.
their chief export and import.
Nice. All right, yeah. Yeah, okay. With that, then she'll just sort of return to a place to sit. Probably like, what's the weather like today?
It
Would you
is.
say?
It is refreshing. Is what you can describe the weather as. There's this nice warm breeze in the morning that kind of like curls around through the tents and buildings. The sun is rising. So you'll have it at your backs during this trek.
Nice. Yeah, Caleb would be kind of just sitting in front, like sitting probably by some tree and just talking to the dictation quill to record what she wrote, she read in the book.
And away the quill goes, just quill noises, of course. Alright. Dalza comes out of nowhere and assaults Zoaz with conversation. Zoaz! Zoaz, my friend. Are you heading out then?
Zoaz, his voice catches in his throat for a moment, and he sort of looks apprehensively and says, most likely not. I will, of course, have to broach the topic with my allies and person I'm escorting, but, it seems that you all would appreciate some help with this situation at the Firefinger, and, my duties as a shepherd, it would not sit right with me to let this magic-eating beast prevent the safety of those who live within Khorzaire, you see.
It would definitely be a boon, my friend. Firefinger and those buildings like it are basically operate off of magical fire, so if there's something eating it, well, that's no good. I do appreciate the help. If you were to get to it first, wouldn't that boil our sorry scales?
Zoaz weakly smiles and says, yes.
He kind of lowers his voice. Zoaz, this helps me help others. I think there's something here, in Aurora. I needed help once, and Asari helped me. These people, he kind of like points a claw around. These people need help. I'll help them. At least until they can fend for themselves, just like me. He gives you a little, a wink of his milky eyes.
Zoaz nods. It is appreciated.
These people, they need to learn how to fight, how to defend themselves. I can do that. He whirls on Twig and unsheaths his kopesh. Ha! How about you?
He whirled at Twig, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Twig definitely dodges out of the way with just an uncanny technique. Doza grins and nods. You see, this one is always ready. Where is your...
Thank you.
Where is your companion? Ah, there. And he sees Xalia come up, kind of like trudge up, and he walks up to Xalia. He flips a dagger out of his belt holster, just quickly, and just flips it around, and then offers it handle first to Xalia. Here, you are clearly the strongest warrior among everyone here. And he, like, you can see his gaze lock onto the large spear that is on your back, Xalia.
Yeah. And she's gonna pull out her cutlass and kind of point it at him.
He offers you this gleaming dagger that shines in the morning sunlight. Yeah, they seem, the wanderers that is, they seem to dislike the coating of silver on this blade. Yeah, if you find yourself in some trouble, close quarters perhaps, use this. And keep the rest of your group safe.
And then immediately, like, she'll put her cutlass away, take it, and then immediately get out the magnifying glass to look at it.
Okay. You can put a silver dagger in your inventory. Dagger is, there's nothing any special that the magnifying glass yields to you. The horns on it don't really change, except maybe take a brief kind of like silver coating that just shines up but doesn't remain. Just... And the dagger is overall just a large triangle with a kind of like a broad handle. Looks like it is its purpose is for stabbing instead of cutting.
While she's here, she's gonna look at Doza with it. Doza.
Okay. Taking your magnifying glass out and taking a peek at Doza, there is something interesting that happens. The horns on the top of the magnifying glass, they kind of like melt down and then reform into a what am I trying to say? Into just like stylistic eyes. Doza, unfazed by you like looking at him through the magnifying glass, kind of says to you, Xalia, you are the quietest shape-changer I've seen.
I'll kind of nod and shrug a little bit. Make a little bit of a gurgling noise.
Yes. There is definitely the quietest. There was one that couldn't, that would not silence. And then there was another that always had a plan or another. Was talking about all kinds of stuff. Sorry, I do not mean to bore you.
No, she'll tilt her head at that and go, like, kind of lean forward a little bit.
Oh, you wish to know more? Well, there is... Oh, sorry, I do not mean to hold the group up.
Zoaz will wave his hand and say, No, there is no rush.
Well,
Zoaz is sort of stroking his chin. He's curious, interested.
Well, let me tell everyone then. This one here, not the first shape changer to come through. It's actually been several in the past week or two. Naturally, anyone can come and go as they please, but it just seems strange to me. There was one, she had a book that she kept close to her chest, did not want to talk to anyone about it, but very proud individual, very happy individual, always talking about how lucky she was to meet everyone. And then there was this other one that just could not talk, could not stop talking. Let me tell you, if sometimes I get told that I am sort of blathering on, but wait till you get a hold of this one.
Alright. Xalia will kind of straighten out her posture, and to an extreme degree, because, you know, she's Xalia. At the mention of the first one, she's going to snap her fingers and try to create a minor illusion of the book from the auction, if she, to the best of her memory, and kind of point at it vaguely excitedly.
Doza will take a moment, kind of scratches chin, peer down. Yes, this looks similar. But it's a book is a book to me, you know. It was curious. She had the book it had a crimson sort of velvet lining to it. It was very unmistakable, but it's difficult to see in what you have created here.
And then she's going to do a minor illusion that's just kind of a little arrow floating in the air that just kind of spins around, like, all over the place, and then it's going to coalesce into a question mark.
I think you just get a blank stare from Doza and like, and just like, period, above his head.
Like a little groaning noise, and she'll try again, like, and this time she's making a map, and just kind of like a little X that goes all over the map, and then there'll be a question mark on the map.
Zoaz, who has become slightly better at interpreting Xalia-ese, will step in and say, I believe what she means to ask is, do you know where she went?
Oh, she was, let's see, that was not too long ago. I've been through many fights with Wanderers since then, my friends. Details leave me, but I do remember mention that she had some research to do on the book itself, and then something about fire. No, I guess I don't have an exact detail of what she went. Oh no, she went to Samasa. I remember now.
Xalia will turn to Zoaz.
Would Zoaz... Well, Zoaz would know where this is, or know what it is. Correct?
Yeah, Samasa is... let me make sure I know what it is. Where it is.
Regardless, Zoaz will impart this information to Xalia.
He'll nod.
Once it is given.
Okay.
While Accel is... Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Samasa is a village, not necessarily like... it's kind of like in between. Like it's on the way to Alga. It's just kind of like it is off the path, like off the sun's path a bit, Zoaz. So it would definitely be a detour. It's maybe like 5 days off the path south.
Yeah. Well, having given the information to Xalia, and while she sort of, I assume, takes it in or thinks about it, Zoaz will turn to the group and say, including Korokon, is Korokon here yet?
Korrigan's there, yeah.
Yes, and say, my friends, I have a request. I understand that after the after the Dusty City, we may have spent too much time not on our journey, but I believe that it is my job, and indeed I have my own personal reasons, to take care of the situation with the Firefinger. Yeah, if you all would not... If you all would not like to join me, I understand, but I would very much appreciate your aid.
Well, we can't have you going off fighting some sort of dangerous magical beast on your own now, can we?
Zoaz dryly smiles and says, yes, that would not be ideal.
Makayla kind of packs up her dictation quill and parchment, gets up, and, starts sort of moving.
Before you go, I do...
Not going anywhere, but like kind of like moving to like join with you, kind of stand with you.
Chuman puts his hands above his head, and well, this magical beast does sound pretty interesting. I figure it could be a worthy adventure.
And the aid of a skilled marksman such as yourself would be greatly appreciated, Chuman. Thank you.
Pastiche lets out a sigh. Well, someone's got to keep you all out of trouble. And walks over.
And so the Great Watermelon Slayer joins us.
Twig,
And his accomplice?
Twig follows behind them and adds, "Yeah, that's what I'm here for."
And Xalia, I understand that you may be interested in going to Smosa.
He'll nod, excessively. He's kind of spaced out from most of that.
I have a reason to go and handle the situation at the Firefinger. If you would be willing to join us, I believe it would be only fair to make time to go and visit there as well, for your sake.
Nod a few more times.
Well, Korokon, it appears that you're going to be staying here for a while. Is that alright?
Why? Okay.
Thank you, my friend. I assure you that I will reimburse you for the costs.
Think nothing of it, shepherd.
Those nods.
As long as this gift gets to Lady Zoaz, that's all the goal is.
Those will nod, and I assure you it will. By Selene, it will. At any rate, I suppose that settles it. We'll be going to the Firefinger. About how far from the Firefinger are we?
You're actually not too far.
Okay.
It's,
Like within a mile?
Maybe an hour. Not a mile. A couple miles.
Okay. Zoaz will turn back to the group after having check with Korkan to see if it's alright and say, well, friends, I suppose if we're all ready, we should be off as soon as possible.
Nods.
Nods all around.
Yeah.
And Doza will stay here and guard the town. We'll make sure none of these nasties will assault us. And I'll keep the people safe, I'll keep the merchants safe.
Thank you. It is much appreciated. It takes a load off my mind to know that someone will be preventing those wanderers from endangering the citizens of Aurora.
Monato's blessings make me very strong. And the other Zenith Knights are equally skilled. We'll definitely have a town here for you to come back to, Zoaz. And he'll... when you are all about to leave, Doza will slide next to Zoaz real quick. And kind of like murmur to you, Zoaz. I love your shot, everybody else. Zoaz, I mentioned that I lost a bit of my contingent on our first pass through, and that is why we are here at Aurora. If you find any of my people, if you find any Xanthanites, put them out of their wanderlust. We'll get them next time.
Zoaz makes a slow nod and says, I will. It would not do to leave good soldiers without a proper end.
We'll come back for them.
Indeed.
He holds out his clawed hand for a shake.
And Zoaz will shake his hand.
Yeah. Go shake, 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 shake.
Yeah, is this like someone who's clearly too excited or like trying to fleece you, like shaking your hand up and down out of your socket?
Yes.
Perfect. With a sore arm, Zoaz will join the rest of the group and collect the raptors.
Alright. You all ride off out of Aurora. You head down the ramp that Aurora has in order to get up to it. Ride down, then head through the ravine and make some time to get to Firefinger. The raptors are excited to be moving around in the morning. They're just talking and like musing to themselves as as they all scoot around and usher you. You can see Firefinger looming in the distance, and it rises quickly towards you. And let's get you guys some Khorzaire music. Okay, so you're maneuvering around, keeping the Firefinger, this great rock rectangle that juts into the sky in your sights, and moving forward. You suddenly realize that Korkan just tried to sneak on the way. You tell him to get back in town. And then he lowers his head, and him and his raptor kind of strut back to town. And then let's see here. You can see the bursts of fire come from the top of the Firefinger. And you can see more and more of it come into view with its red rocks. And before long, there's some of like a sandy desert outcropping, where you can see toppled stones of an ancient ruin that stand resilient against the arid wind and oppressive sun. There's some stone that's just been bleached bone white after aeons, but little remains of the original structure. But in your mind, you can imagine a reconstruction of the soaring pillars and maybe like central structure that would go around this dried up fountain. You can see a statue of a knight standing up, and it's at that point where the sun has a brief shadow, and it's difficult to see quite what it is as the creature aligns itself with the sun, and only the silhouette is visible, and even then only for a moment, as you must shield your eyes and avert your gaze lest the fiery orb in the sky blind you.
If only we bought those sunglasses.
Oh.
Anybody doing anything?
So the silhouette, I assume. Well, is it like close to us, or is it framed against the sun
It's
in such a way that?
it's framed against the sun in such a way that it's difficult to make out. But you can make a perception check with hella disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Two nat 20s, here we go! Oh!
If it weren't for that disadvantage, you would have had it.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Somehow Zoaz, speaking with a servant of the Monitor, has made the sun just bright today. It's difficult to look directly at it. And you're unable to glean any extra information before. Just like there's this kind of like pain in your eyes. You have to avert your gaze and blink for a bit. Squeeze your eyelids down.
Well, suppose if there's no immediate threat, no reason to stop.
Is it just sitting there?
It's difficult to tell.
Like, well,
would you like to roll?
Kind of. Maybe, I mean, if its shadow was, or I guess if, well, I guess you can kind of like.
You don't
Is
know?
it casting a shadow?
You don't know.
Or
as you all move forward, entranced by this object in the sky, it does become apparent that, like, as you sneak glances up at it, it does become apparent that it is some kind of something that is descending towards you, but framed against the sun, so it's difficult to see it clearly.
Zoaz is going to motion to the group to try to... He's going to try to lead them behind a wall, sort of like into a shadow, to try and perhaps get out of the line of sight of whatever it is.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear, like, I guess the direction of where it's descending, or is the sun just like directly on top of us?
It is the sun is just directly, like, the way this creature has positioned itself. It is directly. Sorry, the sun is directly behind it.
All right. I'm going to try and, like, with a quick glance, I'm gonna try and hunter's mark it.
Is it close enough to do that?
Is it?
It's
I
not
have no
yet
idea.
close enough to do that.
Okay, then
What's the range in Hunter's Mark?
90 feet.
Okay. Oh, that's close then.
Yeah.
I don't... Trying to Phantasmal Force it would be very funny. But I think the safer option that Xalia is going to do is Major Image herself. Just gone.
Major Image Xalia is not there.
Azalea and anyone like close to her is just nope. This is just normal track of desert.
Okay.
Amazing. We just disappear.
Could
So like above us.
yeah, noticing
It's just like a solid cube of like hollow projection for each other. Basically.
Okay.
but like as if you had edited the camera footage to remove
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah, basically that.
All right. That's pretty sneaky. Okay.
Zoaz
What else
is
is
going
going
to
on?
notice that Makayla and Xalia are gone and walk over to investigate.
Okay. So we're able to cover just Xalia and Makayla. So Zoaz, you're trying to like kind of get some way against maybe like a low wall, so like you're
Yeah, like
shielded somewhat.
some form of way to break the line of sight.
Okay, we'll put you something like here then, and
Okay.
we'll move your major image to Xalia. Just trying to arrange people.
Yeah.
Just for stuff that makes sense, and then let's see here, Xalia. Boop. All right. So Zoaz is noticing that two of his charges are no longer there.
Uh-huh.
Back. Make me Zoaz roll a stealth check.
Yep.
Okay.
Ugh.
And then Xalia, I'm going to roll a die on my home table.
Okay.
Okay.
Did die? Let's go.
Alright, I rolled a 10. So
All right.
I'm just telling you the results, so I just don't want to use Foundry for it because of nameplates.
Hmm.
Yep. That makes sense.
Let's see here. What's your spell save DC?
Spell save DC is I believe 15.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 15.
All right. So as this all happens among you, whatever this silhouette is that's positioned itself against the sun is definitely getting closer as you sneak like more like cautious glances up next to it, and it's about to descend upon you. It's still really difficult to see because it's like the sun is right there. But if it were a creature, you could Hunter's Mark it now if you wanted to, Makayla.
Yeah, I mean, what I was gonna do is Hunter's Mark it and then try to do a perception check,
Okay,
as
that's
Hunter's Mark
pretty
gives
good.
you
Okay.
advantage on those. But so like I kind of feel that it like gets into range, and I guess I do it. Yeah, it sort of like sends out a bird to kind of try and hover around it.
Okay. You send your bird up to kind of like hover around it, but to your horror, you feel the spiritual connection that you have to your spectral vulture just vanish, and it is in this moment. And you feel that it does not take hold. And in this moment, it is as if a meteorite has impacted the Earth. A massive wave of sand has been kicked up, but it does not fall. It roars around with a sudden wind and swirls around and round. There is a sudden natural disaster as you quickly realize a sandstorm is on your direct area, heavily obscuring the vision. You can sense and hear movement from a large creature somewhere in here, as well as chittering and quiet cackles around you. Mirages of angry eyes peeking out at you from the swirling sands. I need everyone to roll initiative.
Hey, this is home.
Yeah? Oh, I guess it is for Xalia, huh?
It's oddly comfortable.
Uh-huh.
There is no active combat encounter when you're currently viewed scene.
I
true.
will create an active combat encounter.
Yeah, we can fix that.
You don't
We can fix that.
Yeah, you know, you're just in a whirlwind. It's no problem.
Double 16, so I get like 16 coins for that?
Maybe.
Bidding, bidding, bidding.
So, wait, my Hunter's Mark did get consumed, right? Like the spell slot and everything, it went off?
The spell slot does get consumed.
Just... Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you do actually cast it. Okay, let's see. Where would this? Yeah, right here.
Here.
Alright. Then okay. So let's begin. Chuman. You can feel the impact from whatever this creature is, whatever this thing is. You can feel the impact right next to you as the sand is kicked up and washes over you. You kind of like sputter yourself and just dust the sand off of your clothes. And you can feel a huge presence, like this awesome presence next to you. You peer through the sand and you can see a couple piercing, you can see a couple like determined predator eyes piercing their gaze through you in the sand. Even though they are heavily obscured, we'll go ahead and let everybody know with a shrieking, piercing hawk cry. There is a great beast there. It's shifting its weight, flicking its wings anxiously. It is a true sight to behold. This creature mingles lion and eagle, resulting in something grander and more deadly than both. It kind of clicks its beak, and in its eyes, Chuman, you can sense courage and a certain cunning rare in beasts. It scrapes its talons the size of daggers along the ruined stone, and you can see it's got a position where its upper torso is closer to the ground, as if it's ready to pounce and strike. You do have a quick moment before you can, before it goes. But I need an animal handling check first. As the raptor is super spooked and it rears up, but you manage to stay on.
Just to make sure the griffin is not on the ground.
It is on the ground right next to you. It's eyeballing you. You look like a tasty treat.
Okay.
And I will note, Chuman, that you suddenly feel just a pain in your left eye and like just this worry wash over you, as if like there's this great shift, as if you have been the predator all your life. You are now the prey. And then there's this like shock of adrenaline and fight or flight in you.
Bonus action. Okay. In the midst of that feeling, Chuman is going to cast his Zephyr Strike in order to help himself get some space between this beast. And I guess I'm too close for a bow. He's going to swing with his hand axe.
Okay.
Always move and then shoot.
Yeah, I'm doing it afterwards.
Okay.
This is okay. I almost had that confused. It's not the other one.
An 8 does not hit.
Hmm. It's whack. And so
The raptor kind of like rears up as you go to swipe with your hand axe, but the raptor moves in such a manner where you're not able to make a connection with this beast.
okay. Just confirm. Chuman will. Chuman is going to take the raptor to maneuver away from the griffin, and while he's doing that, fire off a hand crossbow.
Okay.
Wait. What the? Says I don't have that.
What the heck?
It's probably my macro. Got messed up.
Okay. Let's see here. Actually, let me double check something real quick.
Don't tell me it has an AC of 25.
No, it is actually something completely different. The entire the area within the sandstorm is heavily obscured, which means you have disadvantage on attack rolls to fire things out.
Okay.
So I need to roll again, please.
Well, you could, if you wanted to, give yourself advantage on this attack roll to cancel it out with Zephyr Strike, right?
He already made the strike with hand axe at a normal roll.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
A 14 unfortunately does not hit. You load the crossbow and shoot the bolt into it, and unfortunately there's just a piece of ruin that absorbs the bolt.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's going to be it for Chuma's turn.
Twig. Got bad news. There's a really big bird here.
There sure is. I would still be riding the raptor at this point, right?
Yeah, you're still riding the raptor.
Alright. Twig is gonna yell out to the rest of the party. And he's gonna say, Chuman and I are headed northeast. Get out of the sandstorm. And he is going to bonus action dash and main action disengage.
Okay. Sounds good.
Rogue moment.
Yeah. And is this wall right over here like a?
It'll be.
Is it too high to hop over?
Yeah, it'll be difficult terrain.
Okay, then I'll just end my turn here.
Which comes to the griffin's turn. This golden griffin lands, skidding in the ruins a bit, kicking up sand and rocks everywhere. Looks around, goes to take a air moving, just boom. You can hear the heaviness of its claws, of its talons, strike towards Chuman, but he manages to, as quickly as his effort, get out of the way. And you can hear a squawk, a crawl, or a call, as Pastiche. You can feel it turn and level its gaze on you.
Of course.
You can see its tail has a hardening moment, or a hardening moment, like hardens at the end, and it kind of like clacks open and closed, as if it were just some kind of like battle axe. It kind of like flicks its tail, and then let's see here, Twig and who knows Primordial.
Twig
or
is.
Auron.
Twig.
I believe that would just be Twig. I could be wrong though.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought-
just Twig.
Okay, I thought somebody else.
No, wait, Valiant is Myrtle too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Twig and Xalia, you can hear in a like just definitely like a Khorzaire accent of Auron. You can hear the griffin levering some words towards Pastiche. I have already defeated you. I don't need you. And then flaps a huge, or sorry, I don't need your honor anymore. And flaps its wings with a mighty beat away from Pastiche and zips towards Chuman and comes down upon Chuman and his raptor. He's going to fly out of the sandstorm, make it just a whirling dive, and there's going to be some claws in there. These gleaming golden claws slice towards Chuman. A 13.
Human dodges.
Alright. Oh, he's got a big tail. He's pointy on all ends. 16.
He does get him.
Alright.
He nicks a little bit.
Alright. Chuman, the claws whoosh over your head, but then this mighty griffin screams forward and launches a bite into your body. 9 damage from piercing. Okay. And I need a strength saving throw from you, please.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Nice.
As this griffin threatens to overpower you and like push you off of your raptor, you manage to shove back somehow along with your raptor, who also does not want to be eaten for lunch. Yeah. And then suddenly the eyes in the sandstorm become real as you guys get the sense that you're surrounded by creatures of the sand. They chitter. Which brings us to Zoaz. What would you like to do?
Heckin'.
Oh, are we still doing group initiative stuff?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot. Zoaz and Makayla, what would you like to do?
First, would a nature check on the griffin, if I could see it, I assume my vision is too obscured currently.
Yeah.
Would that be an action?
You're trying to get like some.
I'm trying to remember if I have heard anything about a creature like this, if I have any experience with a creature like this.
Okay. Skill checks are an action.
Okay.
So yes.
Cool.
If we dislike that, we can bring it up after the session. But yeah, skill checks
Yeah, for sure.
are an action.
I'm not gonna worry about it right now.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Zoaz is going to let's see. He's like with one hand he's like pulling his hood down to shield his eyes from the biting winds and the storming sands, and with the other he's tightly holding on to his staff, and he sort of looks around, barely able to see, and is going to, having seen the griffin leap out, he's going to ignore the creature of sand near him and try to push his way out of the sandstorm with his raptor. Heading here.
Okay.
And then... Oh, weren't we going to have it so that we all dictate what we're doing and then it sort of takes place?
Yeah, we'll just have it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of...
It's a bit hard to do, but yeah. And then he's going to call out and say, We must escape the sandstorm. It is far too difficult to fight in that. And is going to turn to Chuman and cast Shield of Faith on him. Swing his staff, and a silvery image of the full moon interposes itself between you and the griffin, Chuman. Then... Zoaz is going to turn to the creature that was before him just a moment ago, the Mephit, and is going to cast a cantrip, Sacred Flame, on it.
Okay. The creature of
Does the sandstorm does not count as a as a
it's just heavily
cover?
obscured.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
kills it.
damage.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Level 5. Yeah, it hurts.
After the smooth motion of creating the sigil in front of Chuman to shield him from the griffin, Zoaz sort of like pulls back on the reins of his raptor, letting go of his hood now that he's out of the sandstorm, turns it around so that he can sight where he last saw the Mephit, and in one swift stroke brings down his staff, and in concert with it, a sacred flame descends from the heavens to assault the Mephit.
Chitter.
And while this is going on,
Yeah. Question. Do raptors have like that like second eyelid to like stop sand from getting their eyes?
Maybe.
Like how affected are these raptors by this sandstorm?
They go where you tell them to go.
I guess mechanic. So sandstorm just is like obscure, or not just like we can see through it. It's just kind of obscuring,
Yes.
right? That's mechanically how it works. Okay. I mean, well, either way, it's activating blessing, and then just because like. I think it'd be kind of cool if... Okay, if I use Besense, would I still have that disadvantage on seeing stuff in the sandstorm? On the Besense on the raptor?
Besense on the raptor to see through its stuff?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Alright. I guess... Shit, well... I'll swing twice on this sand method next to me then.
Okay.
Disadvantage. Because I already bonus attacks, so I have to.
Hi-ya!
11 and 18.
Hey, that's better.
Okay, the 18 hits. 11 just barely misses.
For 8 damage. And then with that, I'm gonna peace out, I guess. Push myself kind of back off of it 5 feet with the swarm, gathering swarm, and then kind of ride off. Oops. Ride off out of the sandstorm.
Okay. Let's see here, which brings us to this one is going to attack the Lizardfolk that is still in the sandstorm. Hi-ya! Look out, Pastiche.
Rude.
Claws made of sand and little miniature pebble rocks strike out at you for an 11 to hit.
Which, fortunately, misses.
Alright. Well, that's his turn. Pastiche and Xalia, what would you like to do? Your Your
Can I roll an Arcana check to see how much she would know about these things?
You can roll an Arcana check.
Okay.
I also need a concentration check from you.
Okay.
As the sandstorm whirls around you, and it's difficult to maintain
That's just
focus on
Constitution, right?
Yes. Constitution.
Cool.
Hey, not
Yeah,
bad.
Nice. Okay, you maintain concentration measurement and your Arcana in the sand dudes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can ascertain that they are just creatures made from animated sand, where there's just like a little bit of anima infused into them, like just infused to like sand that's kicked up, and it creates this kind of creature. It's a little imp-like dude. They scratch, and they can also manipulate sand to a small degree. They also explode when you hit them.
Yeah, basically, from her perspective, are they scarable?
Are they scarable? They're as scarable as sand is, so not really.
So not very, yeah. Alright, then shouldn't give a shit, she's leaving.
Wow, cool.
Is concentration? Yeah, it's concentration,
Oops.
okay. Alright, she's gonna just dismiss this, and she's gonna try and fail to use her new spell. I think that's her play. Let's see if
Oh,
she-
yeah?
If I were to say benign transposition from the back of my raptor, would I be able to dismount without using half my movement?
Sure.
Okay. Pastiche is gonna reach down, pat his raptor, and say, "Get out of here," before blinking away. Yeah, we'll be over here.
Okay.
And then
You poof, and then land in the air above these kind of like ruined rocks. You drop down a couple feet, and then take a few steps, and you are now ambulating under your own power.
Alright. Gonna run out of the sandstorm. Look around, see Twig, see Chuman, see this griffin. Worry for a moment.
Word is correct, because that tail is a-twitching.
I think for now, I'm gonna move a little bit further and just kind of take cover behind our raptor.
Alright.
Hold on, let me I need to determine what kind of spell, what variety I'm casting. What? Oh, I need to actually go pull the stat block in. Anyway, so she's gonna dismiss the major illusion because these things can't be scared, right? Well, actually, what she's gonna do first is that while she's still, like, disappeared, we're gonna just run away from the source of the big boom
Okay.
until we're free, which is about here, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then we are going to dismiss the major illusion, so the camo just kind of disappears.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
And then she is going to, you know, do the trick she's been working on, right? And just try to say, hey, I want to summon a dude right where I was. So it looks like I just kind of became this. She's probably gonna make it, what's it? She's probably gonna make it the despair kind, just so it has a very slow. Things that start next to it are very slow. So this guy has minus 20 speed.
Okie dokie. Shadow Spirit. Booga booga.
And because she does not totally understand what's required of this thing, she's going to just kind of try to will it to attack this method.
Okay.
Also, it looks basically like her does. Like she does, except like, you know, entirely blacked out. You know, some tentacles flying everywhere, big cry face on the front. You know,
As you do.
Yeah, you know.
as you do.
Normal Xalia stuff, really.
Okay.
Yeah, entirely in line.
Alright, how are we willing it? Just like thinking at it? Or are you...
Yeah,
are
she
you-
doesn't understand. She needs to talk at it yet.
Okay. Alright. The creature stands there menacingly, bearing down upon this sand creature. Tentacles going everywhere. And it takes a dodge action. Alright. At the end of your turns, look out, Chuman. The griffin whirls around. This huge golden, glistening griffin whirls around and brings its tail around horizontal at you. And it's gonna, let's see, it's gonna attack your raptor.
Food.
22.
My gosh.
Yep, that hits.
I regret to inform you that your raptor is in 2 pieces.
Oh no.
Oh.
As this mighty battle axe of a tail just cleaves and rips the raptor's torso just clean open. This is a very sharp appendage that it has on this creature, and you are both bowled over, maybe like 10 feet this way. And the poor raptor is donezo and bleeding. You are on the ground in the sand.
Hmm. I see.
Let's see, which brings us to the these sand dudes. They're gonna go ham on it and start trying to scratch it. Chitter, chitter, chitter. Sand noises. How's Mitch doing?
You know, Mitch is flapping furiously,
Flap, flap.
trying to hang in there.
The sandstorm buffeting him. He's just an owl. He's trying his darndest to stay afloat. He's like upside down for a moment. He's being barrel rolled everywhere.
Mitch is gonna start flying out of the sandstorm, but I think it's fair to call this difficult terrain.
For an owl. Yeah, that's good. You can take the dash action.
That's true.
If
Let's
that
get the
is
heck out
something
of
that
there.
Mitch would do.
I think Mitch is only concerned with getting out of the sandstorm right now, so that makes sense.
Alright. Mitch topples out of the sandstorm mid-flight, just doing like a front flip in the air, and then finally extricating himself from the sand. Just flaps, righting himself, looking around. Hoot hoot.
Hoot.
Alright, which brings us to Chuman. The raptor blood is all over your clothes, and also you are partly underneath the raptor. As you are on the ground in the sand, skidding from the powerful blow that this griffin's tail has struck. You can see it getting down and moving towards you. If it could lick its beak, it's doing it. What would you like to do?
Yep.
And Twig,
let's
too.
see.
Chuman and Twig.
I have an idea, but I kind of want to know like what Chuman would do before, like to know if what I want to do would work.
there's not too much that Chuman can do outside of fighting at this moment. I mean, he is right above him.
You can hear in Khorzaire and Arin, 1 against 12 is even odds.
Let's see. I think Chuman is going to. Oh, for one, he's going to stand.
That's a good idea. Alright, so half your movement to get up.
Okay.
Extricate yourself from underneath the raptor. Give it a sad look.
And he's going to say, since after he's impaled his raptor, if it's a fight you want to, it's the fight you'll get. And he pulls up his sleeve to show his mark on his shoulder. Concentrates on it to make it glow and cast Finder's Mark on the griffin.
This dazzling wing tattoo that you show on your arm glows for a bit.
And with the hand axe still in his other hand.
Huh? Just 1 second, I might be able to help with this.
Oh yeah.
Is dismounting an action, or does it take half your movement?
It takes half your movement.
Okay. And Twig is gonna leap off his raptor and use dash as a bonus action to run up behind the griffin.
Okay.
So that way you can flank it.
Okay. Chuman, you can see the great predator be momentarily distracted by Twig as he runs up and makes his presence known. But but it juts its head back super quickly, and as you strike forward with your hand axe, it's just clamps its beak down on the blade and just twists the metal out of your grasp. Kind of like spits it down next to you.
Okay, out of character question. Since I can attack twice with the action turn, that would mean that I can't do it since he's pulled the axe. Like, he's basically disassembled the axe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just for flavor. You can pick that up.
Oh.
Okay. I was gonna say I could technically pull the dagger slash if it's still following it.
I am coming after your stuff from now on, but no, you can have it.
Alright. Well, I keep the flavor. Well, Chuman, as quickly as the griffin takes his hand axe and chucks it, I guess, back into the whirlwind of sand, he quickly takes his dagger and slashes again. Wait. This will also be
Advantage.
Hey, 21 hits.
There we go.
Nice.
It's been a long day.
Ouchies.
It's still gonna be a long day.
And
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
It's true.
yeah, where's my hand? There it is.
Ouchies.
Very long day. Let's go.
Alright, Chuman still reeling, the adrenaline pumping in your body. You unsheath the dagger, seeing the hand axe go way the F over there. And then, with a couple deep breaths, you lunge forward and strike with your dagger. And you do succeed in making this beast bleed. You give it a nasty cut on its front left talon.
Right as the dagger finds its mark, Twig raises his scimitar above his head, and it starts crackling with energy as he brings it down on the griffin.
Okay.
Hey!
Interesting advantage there.
Ouch. At 26,
By the-
you know, that hits. You know.
By the way, Zoaz, because I stepped out, the shield of faith. Who did you
Yes.
cast that on?
That was on you.
Okay.
So you have +2 AC for the duration of that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the booming blade. I'll just. I think that would be upgraded for level 5.
It is. So it behaves slightly differently. Go ahead and believe it just gets the 1d8 now, in addition
Yes.
to the attack.
Oh,
Let's see.
oh yeah.
At this level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 thunder damage to the target on a hit, and the damage the target takes from moving increases to 2d8. We'll write that down and we'll improve it after this.
Mhm.
Alright, so when you deal 1,
Uh-huh.
okay. So when. Tell me how cool your booming blade is.
As Twig raises the scimitar, you can see like crackling blue energy surrounding it, and when the blade connects with the griffin, you can see it leap off of the blade and sort of snap to the griffin's body with a loud banging noise.
Okay. The griffin, upon realizing that you are sheathing it in magical energy, is going to open its beak, and you can see the thunder energy kind of like wisp around and curl into its mouth as it eats your spell.
Oh.
And it's not damaged because half of 1 is 0.
Would that absorb the sheath energy as well?
No.
Okay.
Alright. Anything else? You want to stay there? Move?
I'll stay here.
Okay. On the griffin's turn. You can hear it kind of bellow in this Khorzaire accent, Orin. No one makes me bleed my own blood. And it like kind of flaps its wings and buffets itself away from Twig. And it does take the 2d8, so go ahead and roll for the thunder. Alright.
Hey! Even if it has resistance.
And you can see the griffin kind of give you like a double take, Twig, as if it's like understanding something, and then gives a upward claw rake towards Chuman.
Just to be clear, it wouldn't have resistance to that damage, right?
Oh,
Let's see.
wait, until the start of its
Start
next
of its
turn.
own turn.
So the resistance would have fallen off, I think.
Alright, yeah.
Well, it was applied. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it takes some damage.
Okay.
And that does not hit.
Okay.
Dang.
Chuman gets to narrowly dodge the claws.
Okay. The griffin flaps, beats its wing against the ground. The sand being displaced by the air flies over Chuman onto the other side and is gonna hit him with a beak. 18.
That does barely hit.
Even with the +2?
Yeah.
Darn.
Alright, take 9 piercing damage and 2 thunder damage. For a total of 11. And then, now, surveying the battlefield, makes another swipe horizontally with its axe tail. Hiya! cracks its tail into the ground and then swipes it across Chuman's form. 22 to hit.
Just barely.
Just
Yeah.
14
Dude,
was-
chill!
And I need a DC. Sorry, I need a strength saving throw from you.
No.
Very nice.
Hey!
All
There we
right.
go.
Seeing all that's going on and seeing the shimmer around you, making you more difficult to hit, casts a gaze over at Zoaz, and then flaps backwards once more, moving away from you, and then.
I get to take that swing for it though.
Sure, go for it. As it gives this mighty flap, the strength of the wind is so great it actually causes you to stumble backward. The amount of lift that these wings are able to generate is becoming known to you. And the griffin kind of huffs, and then an Orin twig you can hear says, "I can hunt you anytime. You are not safe." And then flaps, takes flight, and gives the area.
Twig will remember that.
The sandstorm abates after a moment, and with it, like after the griffin leaves the area, the sandstorm immediately dies down, and with it, the animated dust methods, or the animated sand and dust inside, also wither away. And
Xalia is aggressively gesticulating at her shadow spawn.
Cool.
let's see.
Makayla
Shadow spawn, no. Oh, it speaks common. It understands languages you speak. It understands every word.
Makayla like rushes towards, or like starts to like move towards the shadow spawn, like thinking, like saying, like crying out that it's Xalia, as it was like flanked as the sandstorm dissipates, and now like she sees that you're there, and is a little confused. I mean, she's not like that confused, but she's like says, "Is this another illusion?"
Xalia is going to like grab it and just kind of, pull it over to Makayla and poke it.
The shadow spawn looks slightly apologetic as it has a frowny face. Tentacles drooping.
You get a sense of like existential despair from being too close to it. Xalia doesn't seem to notice.
100%.
Yeah, Makayla like suddenly feels very weighed down. What is this?
The griffin is already out of sight by this point, right? Or can we still see it?
You can see it flapping. It's becoming smaller as you can see it fly up into the sky, and it disappears as it lands on top of Firefinger.
Huh.
While that's happening, Zoaz is going to quickly rush over to Chuman, dismount his raptor, and putting a hand on him, cast Cure Wounds.
The Moonlight Shepherd slides through the sand on his knees. Chuman, giving you a touch.
Chuman, slightly prone, he's on his knee, holding a scar near his chest. It says to Twig and Zoaz, "My gratitude for the help. That beast would have definitely do me in if it were just only me."
Zoaz nods and replies, I think if it were just any of us, it would have been a a lost cause. Is this enough for the moment?
Yes. Yes, it'll do for now.
Pastiche peeks out from behind a raptor. Is it gone?
Cool. I think you would see no griffin, but also a cleaved in half raptor.
Uh-huh.
Chuman just looks over his side and motions forward with his head, and that's it.
The poor thing. I suppose at least its death was fast. May Zoaz roll a nature check to see if he has any experience with these creatures?
With raptors? Yeah, they're pack beasts.
Not
They're typically beasts of burden used for.
I'll fight. I
Yeah,
will
go
walk
ahead,
down
go
to
ahead.
Tennessee and beat you up.
Alright, a 12. You've certainly heard about griffins. They're flying creatures. Part big cat. This one appeared to be part lion. And also part bird. And they are very, very large creatures, very predatory. This one seemed a little bit different, and since you rolled a 12, also give me a history check.
Not expecting much luck here. Turned out
Okay.
better.
Slightly better. You do seem to have heard, just in your travels, Zoaz, as you're moving people from place to place, you maybe just like a rumor fell upon your ears that there is like a hunting contract out for a griffin. It wasn't out very long. You're not sure what became of that or like if it was successful. So it seems like, yeah,
Perhaps it wasn't successful.
perhaps it wasn't.
And Chuman mentions this must be the magic beast that
Certainly.
well, at least we know the direction it has went to, but I'm afraid I can't fight that once again, and it seemed disinterested in all of you.
Have you seen that thing before? It seemed awfully interested in you.
Never. I've been underground for over a decade.
Hmm.
Why, I don't even know what that thing is.
Like, literally just dragging its little tentacle arms around.
Like, Makayla's like inspecting it. Like she's like really impressed by this. It's like,
You
your best.
successfully hold the Shadow Spawn's hand.
thanks. Just like hold its palm in my hand. It's like,
It's
That's
a
so
little bit cold, but not uncomfortably so.
it feels so real. It truly is your best illusion yet. Yeah, Makayla's just like really impressed by this. Blown away.
Then Chuman mentions to Zoaz and Twig, have you ever seen this beast before?
I have never seen them, but I have heard of griffins.
Twig just shakes his head no.
Yes, they are called griffins. Pastiche, it seemed to look at you
I need
before
my charger.
before looking at or going to attack Chuman.
Yes.
That's fine.
This is not my first encounter with the
That was
beast.
the cat.
Pastiche kind of turns his head away and motions towards his glassy white eye.
I see. I will not pry. On the other hand, we're going to... I suppose we're going to have to challenge it in the Firefinger. Now that I know what it's capable of, I truly do not feel comfortable leaving until it is slain.
Human nods. He doesn't say a word, he just continues to catch his breath.
Pastiche takes a moment, kind of swallows a lump in his throat.
If we must.
Looking
nah.
back,
Go ahead.
Zoaz will notice Makayla and Xalia poking and prodding some kind of tentacled dark beast? Question
Yeah.
mark?
Yeah.
It looks like Xalia, doesn't it? Right?
Approximately, but it's like her entire body just kind of blacked out, sort of deal,
Mhm.
and has like a white on black frowny face and a bunch of tentacles. It's kind of like the Hollow Knight ghost a little bit. I guess that's where my brain's drawing inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Is it like the like comedy and trauma, the comedy and tragedy masks kind of face?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah. More than a little bit, actually.
Human speaks up to Pastiche. You are not obligated to follow us. After all, I had no interest in you.
I appreciate your concern, but I certainly don't want to be roaming around alone with that thing about.
I understand. Even a hunter such as I, that thing... It gives me chills down my spine.
Around that time, Mitch will fly over and perch himself on Pastiche's shoulder.
Hoot hoot.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah. At a certain point, Kayla will kind of very slowly, because their movement speed is reduced by 20, right? And she's next to this thing, kind of like find it difficult to kind of like move and pull herself away. But eventually it kind of does. It like notices, I guess, that kind of effect. Looks back, it's like, oh, huh. And then kind of strolls up to the rest and sees the dead raptor.
Yeah.
Kind of frowns, but looks to you all. From the map, I'm like sort of assuming that she wouldn't really been able to see too well what had happened from like through the
Yeah.
sandstorm and like all this stuff, like the statue and found and stuff in the way or like any ruin. So it's like she's just kind of strolling up, like, so how did you manage to scare off the beast? And then like sees Chuman like
on the ground, catching his breath, dead raptor by his side, covered in raptor blood.
Mm-hmm. Pastiche just like a 1,000-yard stare at the something tells me you didn't scare it off.
Indeed, I believe it left of its own accord.
That beast definitely had him much more, even after Twig's attack.
Well, I think we scared it off.
Speaking
I admire your optimism.
Speaking of optimism, and Makayla and everyone else that's around this area, you guys notice the sun shining over this raptor corpse, bleeding out. It begins to stir. Head flops. You can see like the clawed talon feet start like treading against the sand.
Is it kind of like those undead dragons from Dark Souls, half and half?
Hey, you been cut in half, dang.
Zoaz shakes his head a bit and is going to stow his shield and pull out his shotel.
Twig sees what's happening, and his expression just drops, and he turns and takes a couple steps away.
Chuman gets on his feet and readies his longbow.
It can't like really move around. It's like bifurcated, not bifurcated, but cut in half. It can't. It could drag itself, but
yeah, it has a huge gash. It'll figure out a way to move. But I gather that you all prevent this from happening. So
yeah, Zoaz is going to separate its head from its shoulders and then consecrate it in Sacred Flame.
Alright.
For the Sacred Flame.
And you have prevented the raptor from getting up and wandering about. Firefinger looms in the distance.
Well, after that sad display, I suppose it is time to keep moving.
Who's carrying who?
We came to slay a beast, and I guess we should continue it.
A beast we shall slay, indeed.
Though
we're going to have to make some concessions, I suppose. Chuman, if you would like to ride on my raptor.
I appreciate.
Sorry, go ahead. Firefinger wasn't too far away, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem for one of us to walk. Wait, it wasn't, right?
It wasn't that far away, but
it's like a few miles.
Yeah, on raptor back, it would be maybe you ascertain maybe 20 to 30, like 15 to 30 minutes on raptor.
Oh, okay.
Which is very similar to walking, but
a lot less tiring.
Yes, Zoaz will. The raptor can probably handle increased burden for a little while. And Zoaz will mount up and offer a hand to help Chuman get on.
And Chuman takes his clawed hand. I very much appreciate the offer.
Of course, of course.
Gets on his back.
Xalia, your shadow spawn is probably like doing the wave with its tentacles.
I think it's after a minute. I think it only lasts a minute, so it probably is gone after a while.
An hour.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's getting frustrated with it. Like, he's not gonna move unless one of you intervene. By the way.
I think the shadow spawn like gets down and starts like drawing unhappy faces in the sand.
Xalia, I believe that we're going to keep moving.
Now only another 2 raptors.
She tries to turn the shadow spot around to look at Zoaz.
Okay, it obeys.
And then like move its hand to just kind of gesture, not indeterminately gesture at him.
Twig is thinking for a moment, and he says, I don't suppose one of us could ride that thing, right? Maybe I could carry us along.
get a very sad sigh. No.
He's going to shake its arm very vigorously. Though it was actually, it did respond in character.
Xalia, unless you'd like to be left behind, we really should get going. So, mount up and we'll be on our way.
He'll mount up and just kind of gesture for the Shadow Spawn to follow.
It's just gonna run along.
The Shadow Spawn follows you guys. It kind of like walks dejectedly, like its tentacles dragging in the sand behind it. It's just shoulders slumped, looking at the ground.
Listen to that order. It wasn't verbal.
Makayla, like,
Oh, that's right.
quizzically-
It wasn't Xalia's sword. Never mind.
Makayla kind of quizzically looks at what's happening and calls out, it's like, can you not control it?
He's gonna make it an upset sound.
What's
Wait,
this
who is
thing's
making?
name?
Wait, what's making the upset sound? You or the Shadow Spawn?
She is.
What's this thing's
Okay.
in? Never mind.
Zoaz shrugs.
Makayla thinks and just kind of like with the might as well try kind of look on her face goes like, thing, follow Xalia, and sees if it like does anything.
I think the Shadow Spawn.
Like points.
I think the Shadow Spawn just like kneels down and then lays down, like face down in the sand, and just like arms, like tentacle arms splayed out by it.
Oh no.
Worth a shot, I suppose. Perhaps you need to do it? Makayla says to Xalia.
She'll try to minor illusion a follow me sound bite.
All right, yeah. It hops up to attention, and, like pushes itself up with tentacles, and it starts like walking, like waddling towards you.
Xalia looks happy.
The Shadow Spawn does not.
Just hear like muffled sobs.
The entire time.
Well, I suppose she figured it out. And that's our cue to continue.
You hear finger snapping. Go follow Zoaz. Finger snapping. Go follow Twig.
Sending that on foot.
Shadow Spawn, like, as you all are making your way towards the Firefinger, this giant spire of rock, this Shadow Spawn is just like flitting between all of you, just as it's changing its follow command. It kind of like moves forward, its tentacles like flopping behind it as it has to speed up to catch up to the higher group, and then it just walks a little slower to get to the next group.
Makayla like tries to like get it onto the raptor, but because she can't control it, it just doesn't do anything. Like it's not receptive at all.
All right. Eventually,
Xalia continues to give it the dumbest orders she can think.
Eventually,
Poor thing.
you do make it to the Firefinger.
Yeah. Against Xalia's best efforts.
Okay. So the Firefinger, as you all manage to get here. Oh, I need to bring the Shadow Spawn over here too,
Uh-huh.
because it lasts for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So the Firefinger, you all definitely reach it. It's this massive rectangle. Just its crimson-colored stones stretch high into the sky, hundreds of feet up. You can see a few open-air landings in spouts of fire here and there, like coming out of the open air landings and also at the top. It's much warmer here next to this rock formation, next to this structure. At the very top, you can see an angry flame spurts into the sky from each corner of the spire. As you maneuver up, you can see an awning dedicated to stabling and providing shade for travel beasts of burden. And you can see a flight of stairs that escalate up about 60 feet to reach the public entrance to Firefinger. Zoaz, you know that this structure reaches incredibly high. The stairs are the main way of ascending between levels. The first one is sort of just like a welcoming area where you can like hang your coats and stuff. Even though coats don't exist in Khorzaire.
I mean, cloaks to stop the sand from getting everywhere.
And of course at nighttime when it gets cold.
Yeah, because it does get freezing in the desert at night.
It definitely does. You know that there's many like books and like welcoming material to the Firefinger. It's half like a really important beacon of signal, and also half a tourist attraction. People will travel to Khorzaire to see the Firefinger and its other counterpart buildings.
Yeah, and I mean Zoaz has brought people to sites such as this before. Maybe not this exact one, but
yeah, absolutely. And you have been here before, so you know like the general layout is just it's a rectangle all the way up. There's stairs that take you to each next level. It is eerily quiet as you notice a couple weapons and shields laying in the sand, and some of the sands have been spattered with red blood as you approach the Firefinger.
Well, Zoaz is going to turn to the group, and I suppose in the shadiest part of the Firefinger you can see sort of tie up the raptors, make sure they can't run off, provide them some water, and then say, well, I suppose the only way forward is in and up. Although once we get in, I do have a plan. I have a way to magically see the top of the tower, and I would like to see the situation up there, as it were.
Will be most invaluable. I can also, now that the beast has gotten close to me, I can at least know its direction when we're nearby. That way it cannot surprise us like last time.
That would be a great help.
Are you still concentrating on your finder's mark?
Finder's mark also lasts an hour.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that's still applying.
And Zoaz will begin to walk up the stairs.
Okay. So what's
Pastiche will be close behind.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me an order here. As you ascend this 60-foot staircase that reaches into the Firefinger.
Twig will be right behind Chuman.
Makayla's just kind of like distracted by Xalia and Shadow Spawn. Just kind of making sure that they don't get
Left behind.
Yeah.
Forever distracted.
Xalia has a creature to harass.
The new side quest.
Yeah, keeping Xalia on task. Substitute teachers.
The raptors have been stabled in the awning, so they will, will not be. I'm moving them out of sight, out of mind. They were in the awning for sure. They're definitely not
Yes.
dead right away. All right. So what's the plan as you ascend these stairs? Let me tell you something. Something happens as you ascend the stairs. Like
Okay.
right away, instantly. The music changes.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh.
Ooh.
As you begin your ascent of the Firefinger, your claws and boots wrapping out against the stone. As you ascend, it becomes hotter and hotter as the flames of this magical structure become more and more apparent, and you can see why it's certainly a little hot in here. We'll say Zoaz as you run up the stairs with Mitch and Pastiche behind you, and Twig
Chuman.
and Chuman and is it Makayla and Xalia?
I think
Yeah,
Is
they'll
that-
come eventually. Where did
Michaela's
they go?
gonna try and like pull on Xalia's hand and say like it's not safe to dally here.
No, she's following eventually, but she's like
Okay.
she's just like following the group while primarily focused on her new toy.
Oh no! All right.
She still might try and take your hand and just like, or take your arm and kind of like drag you a little bit.
Okay. So let's see here. Are we doing anything special as we enter the Firefinger, or are we going in and kicking the door down, or are we jumping off to our deaths? What are we doing?
I mean, frankly, Zoaz wouldn't. I guess you would expect you'd be wary of wanderers, maybe from the previous expedition.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude.
Michaela's gonna be. Oh, sorry, can you?
So Zoaz would kind of put an ear to the door and see if he can hear anything through it.
Okay. Yeah. So you get close to where the opening is. It's kind of like a curtain rather than a door.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
close it because of the heat, and it's just like an open air kind of like bead curtain.
Mhm.
But you get close to it, and then I need let's see here. I need a stealth check just to see how quiet you're being, but a perception check, please.
So stealth check, then perception check.
Yes, please.
Cool.
The stealth check means less.
Thankfully.
Chuman's gonna be basically looking around most of the time.
Okay.
While they're ascending, I think Pastiche is going to slip a potion of healing into Chuman's bag.
Okay.
I
Sweet.
assume Chuman doesn't notice this.
I mean, you can.
If you're looking around, I feel like you would notice.
Yeah.
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 Chuman, as you're looking around, you see Pastiche remove a potion of healing from their bag and just open the flap. Just unceremoniously open the flap on your bag, put it in, close the flap.
Chuman just quietly nods.
Michaela
Twig?
has a. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Twig is gonna disguise self to make himself look like Chuman,
Okay.
and he says to Chuman, well, it couldn't hurt to give the griffin 2 targets if we end up seeing it again soon.
Right. Just don't overextend yourself.
Okay, Zoaz, are we, with your perception check, are we listening or are we looking? Or are we smelling?
I think,
Are we tasting?
given that it's a curtain, Zoaz would try to be like peeking past or through without really like going all the way in, like trying to see what's in there.
Okay. So as you run up the stairs with your clawed feetsies and everyone else behind you, you kind of give the signal to slow down, and then you get down, lower your hips, and peek past a few of the bead curtains. And absolutely, there are wanderers on this first level. You can see benches flanking the entrance. You can see the large fireplaces that you know are used to kind of stoke the fires and increase its magical ability to send beacons up into the top roof. You can see the like the bookshelves on the far right. You can see a hat dangerously close to the fireplace. There's broken pottery everywhere. You can see sort of like the personal chests that hold items for the workers there as they deposit the things and begin working. You can see those are there and open. And let me go ahead and move you, and you can see inside. Think, think. Think, think. And you can see you take another cautious peek, and you can see another group of wanderers to your right. There's two to the left. There's a writhing pile of skeletal snakes, just like undulating within each other, in a manner that you mentally note that would make Xalia very happy. And then that's when you see it. Your eyes lock onto a more important looking wanderer. Who is kind of shambling around this lair, just arms at sides. They have a wreath of hair that is burning upwards in green flame. Their face is no longer has any flesh or muscles on it. It is all skeletal. So, and then they've got these red beady eyes of this kind of like half open, like as if it's in the midst of a cackle of this like green ignited, like immolated really skeleton on top of a shambling body. Haven't seen that before.
Yeah, that's new. Zoaz is going to cautiously step back and gravely nod to the group and sort of in a low voice say, "Wanderers, I suppose I shall take the van." And
Checks out.
I don't think we're going to get through this tower without a significant amount of resistance.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. So as you do notice that the stairs up to the next level are destroyed.
Destroyed?
Yeah, so like over here on the far north where you know the stairway to be, there is only the bottom part of the stairs, and the rest is cracked and destroyed pillars. You can still see the opening that leads to the next one, but there's no way up. Like you can't take the stairs.
Like there's no walkable way up. I'm sure that at some point there would be stairs, but that's an assumption, I guess. So.
Yeah, the stairs that you know to be there that lead you up are gone. Like they're destroyed, they're rubble. But
yeah.
I mean, the opening's still there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and Zoaz will also impart that information to the group because that is a significant wrinkle.
Wow.
It'll be quite a challenge to make it up to the top without using too many resources here.
Well, hey. I'm sure you'll remember I'm no slouch when it comes to climbing, but not while there are zombies, wanderers, harassing me, so in all likelihood we are going to have to clear the room.
Makayla looks at the Shadow Swan and then looks at Xalia. Can that thing climb like you can?
Xalia's gonna shrug, snap her, do the minor illusion. But also, I want to clarify, whenever this is happening, it seems like entirely like Microsoft fanboys. So, it just goes, go in the floor and kill the zombies.
and away it goes.
Tries to pass through this.
Yeah, I suppose Zoaz would let it pass, not entirely sure what it's doing.
Chuman is just utterly puzzled.
I didn't notice the little Chuman up the twig.
So the shadow spawn, you guys easily let it pass, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zoaz is just like, because he didn't hear the order, I assume it's kind of like a whisper near it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, Zoaz would just be like, oh, okay, what is it doing?
Pastiche is going to let it pass, but as it passes, they're going to mirror image themselves up.
Okay.
Oops.
Oh, there goes Mitch.
Mitch! There's so many Mitches.
Alright. So the shadow spawn turns the corner and just kind of like waggles its tentacles. You can hear the wailing and the shrieking and the raspy voices just of the wanderers, their telltale noises as...
Oh.
Huh?
I like to imagine that Zoaz like sees it pass, then notices Pastiche mirror image themselves, and is like looking at Pastiche as this happens, and then begins to hear the rasping and the screaming. Is like, oh no!
Yep, just whoosh. You hear many footsteps clamber around, and you hear like a crackle of lightning, and then you hear like a couple spurts, like a followed by let's see, Pastiche.
Yeah?
I think this technically
Would it be stopped by the wall?
I think this is technically a surprise round.
Okay.
Because it's just this shadow spirit, and they would descend upon it as soon as they see it. Yeah, Pastiche, roll me initiative.
Alright.
Okay. You don't know quite what's going on, but oh wait, let me see. Okay, no, it goes first. So Pastiche, you can feel like this gathering of arcane energy, and you know, being a Khorzaire, you're very well aware of like the anima and magic of this continent. It feels like it feels alive, and you can feel like this motion of energy focus on a single pinpoint, a single bead, and you can feel it move before the entire wall and the entire staircase are rocked with an explosion of kinetic energy, just as this creature lets a fireball go.
Thanks for taking one for the team, buddy. Taking one with the team, maybe.
Taking one with the team, yeah. Let's see here. We will put
Can I roll it?
Roll what? Oh, the dexterity
it's gonna-
save? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yours.
I know it's... Oh, can I click it? Character
Yeah, you
sheet? No,
should
I
be able
can't.
to click it. Oh, really?
No, I
Just
can't.
select it. Oh, maybe you don't have control over it. Here, hang on. I'm figuring out where this idiot would put the fireball.
I mean, I know it's dexterity, so I can just roll the d20 plus 3.
Okay, go for it. I'm pretty sure. Hit it?
Gaming?
Gaming, very dexterous shadow spawn.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah, you would hit it. The shadow's one right there. Let's see. Very dexterous shadow spawn. So, as the fireball explodes, smashes into the shadow spawn, the kinetic energy curls around the walls, and you can see this gouts of flame just explode from the opening. Just. I need Zoaz, Pastiche, and Chuman to also roll dexterity saving throws.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Hey!
Hey!
It looks back. It's like, did that come from it?
Zoaz
Xalia
is
just
too
kind
busy.
of watching with a smile on her face.
Alright, as these gouts of flame explode out from Firefinger, heralding your entrance and your ascension of this building, of this tourist attraction, of this signal beacon. I need everybody that made the throw to take half 32 damage, and everyone that didn't to take 32 fire damage.
Thank you, 5 temporary hit points from Desert King Watermelon.
Chuman, maybe.
He sure did make it.
It might be a good time for some inspiration.
Let's see. The 21 is okay. So yeah, Shadow Spirit.
Dang.
Half damage.
Humans just have a, fun time. Harsh smile included.
Oh wait. Let's see. Shadow Spawn. Let's double check. Creatures and ally. Shadow Spirit.
It doesn't have any sort of resistance, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only with intended product.
What's its health formula?
It is 35 plus 15 for above 3, so it's just 35. So it'd have 19 HP left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it 19?
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Alright. 19 HP on the Shadow Spirit left. And these guys also have to make dexterity saving throws because they're within the box.
Okay, it's just like, what did you command it to do?
Fireball?
Exactly.
Commanded it to explode.
For real.
Fireball seems so much bigger when you can actually see all the squares of the thing. This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, I
Welcome to
had that same
Fireball.
reaction.
Yeah, I think this entire group during the, or maybe not Xalia, because I think Valerie had seen Fireball before, but I think this entire group, sans Valerie, had the, oh god, Fireball's pretty good, huh?
I think I had listened to that session, but I didn't actually see the grid for it. So now I'm reading it.
Every time, baby.
Oh wait, no, this dude only has like he's exploded. Never mind. Stop trying to no.
But I dodged it.
Let's see. 32 damage. Destroyed. Destroyed. No, not off of that. Come on. Why do I keep trying? I keep trying to like deal damage for their dexterity saving throw. All right, let's try that again. What'd you make? Wander. Ash Song. Alright, now you take hella damage. And Wander. You take half damage. No. I did it again. I told myself I wasn't gonna do it. Alright, 8. There. 11 damage. And then, oh, the Swarm. Half damage. Cool.
Do swarms in this edition take extra damage from area spells? That doesn't sound like something, but I can't remember because in 4th edition they did.
I'll double check for next session.
Yeah. Don't worry about it now. It doesn't matter that much.
Let's see if this one gets back up. Probably not, unless he makes a friggin' natural 20. Okay, very close. But no.
Close.
Alright, he stays there. Alright. Alright, well that was fun. I need everyone else to roll initiative, please.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, yeah, roll it now, and we'll keep it for next time.
Yes.
Shadow Spawn probably would act in advance because, yeah.
Let me give you control of shadows. Here we go. Configure permissions. There you go. You're the owner.
I can't see it. I also can't see. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Alright. So, as this explosion of force and fire rocks the wall of Firefinger, threatening to just blow out this part of the wall as it as it careens through. Fortunately, your raptors are 60 feet below and do not also get encompassed by this sphere of roiling flame. You can hear from inside just the telltale cackling of a wanderer as it lets the fireball bead go and explodes. And as you all steady yourselves from the explosion of fire, and everything inside definitely ignites from the thermal energy. I think we get like a cut, like a pan to the griffin as it gives its piercing gaze to the camera. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.